This Paint Live TV, I'm Chris the Idaho Painter. I got an upcoming cabinet series that I'm gonna show you, a multi-part series of how we paint cabinets. This is gonna be the most in-depth series I've ever done on painting cabinets. We're gonna show you how we prep cabinets. We're gonna show you how we apply aqua coat to wood grain on cabinets, and we're gonna show you how we paint cabinets to get an amazing factory-like finish. I'm gonna show you this vanity I'm gonna be painting. It's a $25 vanity. We're gonna make this thing look like a $500 vanity, and we're gonna walk you through that whole process from the prepping to the aqua coating to the painting. So if you wanna see an amazing cabinet series, stay tuned for this video. All right, so we're gonna get ready to make this vanity over. So I need to take off all the doors and hardware. I've got my table set up. I'm gonna be using aqua coat. Aqua coat is a great product for eliminating wood grain or grain in really grainy woods like oak. So I'm gonna be applying it with some plastic rubber spatulas, plastic or rubber. I guess it's a hard plastic. This is what I like to use. Or I even use a credit card, but any type of spatula that's not going to scratch or mar the wood. So I'm gonna get all this taken off. We're gonna get it on our inspection table and start applying our first coat of aqua coat. I think it's probably gonna take, to get rid of all this grain, it's gonna take at least 2, maybe 3 coats. So let's apply our first coat of aqua coat and we'll show you what it looks like applying it. All right, we're gonna start removing our doors and drawers and our hardware so we can begin the painting and aqua coat process. I like to have a tool belt with me where I can access my tools that I need to work with. So I'm putting everything together right here. I'm gonna be needing some tape to do the labeling and a Sharpie marker. So let's just start by removing your doors or drawers and labeling them. So I've got my first one removed. This is upper left side, and there's, I think that it's installed right over the top of that. So I can take and just label this right here. I'm gonna write on this door right here what this is, where it goes. This is upper left. So I'm just gonna be upper left. So it identifies where that goes. All right, so I removed my first door, and it's interesting, these doors have a device on the back of them that keep them from opening all the way up. And I'm gonna show you how I label these things and what this device looks like. So this device is mounted on the back of this drawer, so it keeps it, or drawer front, so it keeps it from opening all the way, and then it's kind of a little storage thing. So this thing mounts on here like that. You're not gonna see anything. We typically mark where the hinge holes are, so the hinge installs over it. I'm gonna write right on the wood, this is upper left, and I don't have to worry about the markings on that wood right there because once again, this hardware mounts right over the top of that. I'm gonna be spraying both sides of this drawer right here, and if I don't cover it with tape, what's gonna happen? I'm just gonna paint right over it and you won't even see it anymore. So I'm just gonna cover that with tape, and that covers my, my description of where it goes. So I'm gonna set that aside, remove the other one right here, and we're gonna do the same thing. Just make sure you label. If you don't label everything, and I've done this in the past, didn't label stuff, and it was an absolute nightmare reinstalling it. What happens if you don't label it, what I've noticed is the doors won't shut properly because they're installed in different areas, even though every door is identical. So this is upper right. Now you can take, in the past, and a long time ago, I would just mask the box off and stand this up and spray it like that. Now I actually spray both sides of the drawer front, and I remove the drawer front. It's got screws on the back side, so I'm just gonna remove these screws and remove it from the box. That way I don't have to mask off the box. And I'm gonna mark this an arrow up because that's the up side of the drawer front. And I'm gonna write middle drawer. And we only got one door, so I don't need to label that door. Arrow going up. So lower drawer. Once again, it's okay to write right on the wood because this is mounted on the back side of the drawer and you're not going to see that. I'm going to set my hardware aside. Don't want to lose any of this. I'm going to show you how I store my hardware and keep my hardware so I don't get it lost. I'm going to remove my hinges because I'm going to be painting the cabinet itself. So I'm going to remove hinges. Since this is a small project, we typically label our hinges also where our hinges go. And I'm going to, these are, I'll show you what. So this hinge mounts, I can write on the hinge because this is what mounts on the wood. So I can write on the back side of that hinge. So this one, I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is number 2. This one is number 1. I really like labeling everything. That way there's no issues with how things open or close when I'm done with the project. I can't get my drill in here because it's too tight, so I'm just using a screwdriver. The old-fashioned way. And I'm going to write on the back side of here where nobody can see, hinge number 1 starts right here. So I'm gonna write 1, 2. Nobody will ever see that. So I know where 1, 2, 3, and 4 goes. Everything removed off my vanity. It's all ready to go. The guides right here, we just mask those off. I don't want to remove the guides. I'm going to leave them on there, and we're going to get ready to start applying some aqua coat. All right, I got to clear some space on my table. I'm going to show you how I go about storing my hardware. I got these frog tape. I'm a big fan of frog tape. I use tons of it. I don't get rid of the containers because I use them to organize and store things in home and in my trailer. So now I'm not going to lose my screws. And I just keep all the different screws separated. And then frog tape has larger containers for, they're 1-inch tape, 1.5-inch tape. Let's see, these can set in there. I don't think the lid's not going to go on them, but I'll just keep them inside there. And now all my stuff is neat, organized, and it's not going to get lost. Nothing worse than losing a couple of the little hinge screws that I now got to run down to the hardware store and get. All right, so I'm going to be painting all sides of these things. I do have some, got to move my coffee out of the way. I'm trying to keep warm because it's wintertime and it's cold. So these little bumpers, you got to scrape these bumpers off. And when I put the cabinets back on, I always put on new bumpers. And they'll leave some adhesive behind that you got to scrape off also. Get rid of all these bumpers. I always like to be really organized, so I got a couple tables. This is gonna be my sanding inspection table right here. I've got my inspection light. So if you don't have an inspection light, you'll eventually see this thing lit up. I got a video how to make an inspection light, and I also got a video on frog tape containers, all the different uses you can use for those things. It's amazing what you can use frog tape containers for, arts and crafts and stuff like that, but storing all different kinds of things. And there's a screw that just showed up right there, and that's what you don't want to do, is lose these things. So it's going to put that screw into his home right here. There you go. Locked tight. And you can take in, if you got a lot of those containers, put a piece of tape on it and label the container what's in that container. So I'm gonna get ready to start applying some aqua coat, some tools. Definitely absolutely love the 2-edge knife, use it for different things. When it comes to removing adhesive, you could sand it off or you can scrape it off. I'm gonna wanna scrape everywhere where these hinge holes are, and I'm gonna scrape off the adhesive that was left behind from our bumpers. Just want to make sure that these are all scraped, because what I don't want is when I'm applying my aqua coat to be hitting, you know, bumps and things that are ridges and stuff that can just make applying the aqua coat a little bit more challenging. You also want to do a quick sand, and you're not sanding other than, you know, I'm not trying to sand my coating off. The aqua coat can go right over the top of previously painted surfaces. It can go over prime surfaces, and it can go over unpainted surfaces. I don't prime first because the aqua coat is white, and then you don't see where you can go. This aqua coat can go right over this lacquer coating, which makes it really convenient. But you do want to sand, because sand makes the adhesion better. Now the backs of the drawers, I'm not concerned about doing a grain filler on the back of the drawer because nobody can see it. On a door, when the door's opened up, you know, if you're really particular about the cabinet, you can do the back side of the doors. So if you're painting your cabinets, like aqua coat can go over a previously painted surface, but the paint does need to be cured before you apply it. So I got everything ready to go. I'm going to be doing a light sand. I've got a dustless sanding system from Ecosand. This is what I like, absolutely my favorite sander. This is what I do all my cabinets with. A 3x4 is gonna make the cabinet painting and sanding process way easier. I've got my dustless system over here. It turns on and off just by touching the paddle. And once I touch it, it kicks on the vacuum, ready to go. I've got different EcoSilk sandpapers I'm going to be using when I'm sanding. I'm a big fan of EcoSilk sanding abrasives. They're absolutely amazing, the best I've ever used. So I'm gonna just do a light sand, and then we're gonna start applying our aqua coat. All right, we're gonna get on with the sanding process now. I'm just gonna do a light sand. Once again, I'm not sanding the cabinets down. I'm not trying to sand the finish off. All I'm trying to do is get a scuff sand on there to get a good bond with my aqua coat. So I've got my Ecosand. I'm gonna be using, because I got raised panels on here, got some routed edges, contours. All right, I'm gonna be using a 1/2-inch Ecosand sponge right here to do my sanding. And I'm just gonna put it on my sander, and this is gonna make it really easy to do the contours. I'm not gonna have to do any of it by hand. Here we go, we're just gonna do light sand. So I do have some spots where I've got the adhesive on there. That's a super fine sponge because I'm just doing a really light scuff sand. I'm gonna switch it out to a stiffer sponge, a 10mm sponge, and it's gonna sand off this adhesive a little bit faster. Now I'm just gonna switch back to my 1/2" sponge right here, and I'm just gonna switch to a medium EcoSilk sponge. So now I got my doors all done. I'm gonna switch over. I'm gonna do my face frames and side panels on my cabinet itself. Got some caulking, this edge here. Just gonna scrape this off. This Linbite scraper, it works a lot faster than just trying to sand it off. So these side panels right here, these are not actual oak side panels. This is just a veneer. It's a piece of wood with basically just a paper imitation wood grain on there. So I want to be really careful with this. Got some water damage down here on the bottom. Fix and repair that. I don't want to sand too much because I'll sand right through the paper, you can see. But we are going to prime that, paint that also. We're going to be painting this kick plate down here, but we got some nails showing through. That'll tear up our sanding pad, so you don't want to. They're staples. You got some nails that are sticking up right here. I'm just gonna set these nails down there. My sanding pad, I felt it hit there. I think it might have messed up my sanding pad. We'll tore it a little bit. All right, I've got all the sanding done on this. I'm gonna start applying aqua coat. I'm also gonna use an inspection light. I've seen some things that are gonna need to be bondoed before we do any painting also. But we're gonna set up, start doing some aqua coats. I'm gonna show you how I apply it, some of the tools necessary to apply the aqua coat in large areas and also small tight spaces. I got some pretty cool little tools that I use for applying it. So let's get busy applying. So there you have it, the sanding process, how we go about sanding and getting the prep done for these cabinets to get an amazing finish on them. We are going to show you the application of aqua coat now. We're going to apply aqua coat to eliminate the grain, and then we're going to do some additional sanding on top of that. Aqua coat is a very important product to put on oak cabinets to eliminate grain so you get a really flat, smooth finish. So stay tuned for our next video applying the aqua coat. This is going to be a really cool video. If you got any questions or comments about the initial sanding process of cabinets, just leave it down in the comment section below. We typically try to answer all the comments and questions that we get. We do get a lot of them, so sometimes it does take some time. So leave a comment down in the section below. If you've got any tips or tricks you want to share with me or our audience, that's what Paint Life is all about, educating all of us out there. Just leave it down in the comment section below. If you want to see the upcoming videos coming up, you got to subscribe to our channel. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. That way you get notified every time I come out with a new video. It's free, easy to do. It's never costed anything 11 years ago. It's never going to cost you anything 11 years in the future. It's just a simple way you can help support our channel and get notified when the next video comes out. It's free, easy to do. We'll see you on the next part. Out.